What happened to Al Green? Green was born in Forest City, Arkansas, where he formed a gospel quartet, the Green Brothers, at the age of 9. They toured throughout the South in the mid-50s before the family relocated to Grand Rapids, Michigan. The Green Brothers continued to perform in Grand Rapids, but Al's father kicked him out of the group after he caught his son listening to Jackie Wilson. At the age of 16, Al formed an R&B group, Al Green and the Creations, with several of his high school friends. Two Creation members, Curtis Rogers and Palmer James, founded their own independent record company, Hotline Music Journal, and had the group record for the label. By that time, the Creations had been renamed the Soulmates, and the group's first single, Backup Train, became a surprise hit, climbing to number 5 on the R&B charts in early 1968. The Soulmates attempted to record another hit, but all of their subsequent singles failed to find an audience. In 1969, Al Green met bandleader and High Records vice president Willie Mitchell while on tour in Midland, Texas. Impressed with Green's voice, he signed the singer to High Records and began collaborating with Al on his debut album. Released in early 1970, Green is Blues showcased the signature sound he and Mitchell devised, a sexy groove highlighted by horn punctuations and string beds that let Green showcase his remarkable falsetto. While the album didn't spawn any hit singles, it was well received and set the stage for the breakthrough success of his second album, Al Green Gets Next to You, in 1970, and that album launched his first hit single, Tired of Being Alone, which began a streak of 4 straight gold singles. It also featured the hit R&B cover of The Temptations' I Can't Get Next to You, recorded in a slow blues-oriented style. Let's Stay Together, released in 1972, was his first genuine hit album, climbing to number 8 on the Billboard 200, with its title track becoming his first number 1 hit. I'm Still in Love with You, which followed only a few months later, was an even greater success, peaking at number 4 and launching the hits Look What You Done For Me and I'm Still in Love with You. By the release of 1973's Call Me, Green was known as both a hitmaker and an artist who released consistently engaging, frequently excellent, critically acclaimed albums. His hits continued uninterrupted throughout the next 2 years, with Call Me, Here I Am, Love and Happiness, and Sha La La Make Me Happy all becoming top 10 gold singles. Green's album Living For You, released in December 1973, was certified gold. At the height of his popularity, Green's former girlfriend, Mrs. Mary Woodson, broke into his Memphis home in October 1974 and poured boiling grits on the singer as he was bathing, inflicting second-degree burns on his back, stomach, and arm, and after assaulting Green, she killed herself with his gun. Green interpreted the violent incident as a sign from God that he should enter the ministry. By 1976, he had bought a church in Memphis and had become an ordained pastor of the Full Gospel Tabernacle. Although he had begun to seriously pursue religion, he had not given up singing R&B, and he released 3 other Mitchell-produced albums, Al Green Is Love in 1975, Full of Fire, and Have a Good Time, both released in 1976 after the incident. However, his albums began to sound formulaic and his sales started to slip by the end of 1976, with disco cutting heavily into his audience. To break free from his slump, Green stopped working with Willie Mitchell in 1977 and built his studio American Music, where he intended to produce his records. The first effort he made at American Music was the Bell album, an intimate record that was critically acclaimed but failed to win a crossover audience. Truth in Time in 1978 failed to generate a major R&B hit. During a concert in Cincinnati in 1979, Green fell off the stage and nearly injured himself seriously. Interpreting the accident as a sign from God, Green retired from performing secular music and devoted himself to preaching. Throughout the 1980s, he released a series of gospel albums on Myrrh Records. He released the 1980 album The Lord Will Make a Way, and 2 years later in 1982, Green appeared in the gospel musical Your Arm's Too Short to Box with God with Patti LaBelle. In 1985, he reunited with Willie Mitchell along with Angelo Earl for He Is the Light, his first album for A&M Records. Green tentatively returned to R&B in 1988 when he sang Put a Little Love in Your Heart with Annie Lennox for the Bill Murray comedy Scrooged. That song ended up becoming a top 10 hit, peaking at number 9, and was his last song to chart on the Billboard Hot 100. Green had a hit in 1989 with The Message Is Love with producer Arthur Baker on the R&B charts. 4 years later, he recorded his first full-fledged soul album since 1978 with the UK-only Don't Look Back. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1995, and that same year, he released Your Heart's in Good Hands, an urban contemporary record that represented his first secular effort to be released in America since Truth in Time. Though the album received positive reviews, it failed to become a hit. Green did achieve widespread recognition 8 years later with his first album for Blue Note, I Can't Stop. A year later, Green re-recorded his previous song Simply Beautiful with Queen Latifah on the latter's album, the Dana Owens album. He followed it with Everything's Okay. His third Blue Note album, 2008's Lay It Down, featured an updated sound that still echoed the feel of his classic earlier soul style. The album was produced by two members of The Roots, Questlove and James Poyser. It became his first top 10 album since his 70s heyday. Green largely stepped away from the studio after Lay It Down, contributing the occasional track to a project, duetting with Heather Headley on the 2009 album Oh Happy Day and All-Star Music Celebration, and covering Freddie Fender's Before the Next Teardrop Falls in 2018 as a part of an ongoing series called Produced By. And as of the recording of this video in the fall of 2024, Green remains a presence on the stage, touring and continuing to give sermons this year. And that's what happened to Al Green. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Give me some facts about Al Green that I failed to mention in this video, and let me know who I should do next on the channel. Thanks again for watching. Let's stay together, and I'll see you in the next video.